Well, good morning, greetings, and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank each and every one of you for making a little time out of your morning, out of your day to come join us here on Lions Talk Live. Just wanted to say, hey, before we get into the show, you guys all know I got the normal stuff I got to talk about. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make a push to get to, say, 6,200 by kickoff Sunday. Maybe if we got a real good chance, 6,300. But at any rate, and also don't forget to like the video. That really helps the algorithms out, all that jazz. You get that stuff. Also, if you have considered buying property or selling property in the state of Michigan or other states throughout the United States of America, give me a call, 269-998-2384. I can personally help you in Michigan, whether it's the Upper Peninsula or Lower Peninsula. But as many of you have reached out, I've also said, hey, I can help you align you, set you up with somebody that I know that would really be good for you, work on your behest. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I save you money, whether it's buying or selling that property. So go ahead and give me a call. I know there's a few of you have reached out, and I said I would try to get back to today. Yesterday was just jam-packed with work and coaching responsibilities. All right, let's get to the show. I see the chat is already moving, so I'm going to have to play a little catch-up here, starting with one of our favorite ones, one of our first subscribers ever, Don Berg. Greetings and salutations. There's no such thing as an easy NFL schedule. Sorry, Lions fans. Don't believe the hype. I agree with that, Don. I get some people come at you and say, hey, this team's nothing. This team's not great. I can remember doing a video with a number of YouTubers right around the start of the season. I don't remember if it was preseason or right after week one, but you can tell people who have been involved in athletics and people who are fans, man, sometimes our emotions just get the best of us. And we say, man, you see what happened to that team week one or in the preseason game? They're chumps. They're no good. But that's rarely the case. Usually, especially in a league like the NFL, games really are week to week. You can be terrible one week. Think of the Denver Broncos and then come out and beat the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City, on a particular week. Doesn't mean that the Denver Broncos are going to make the playoffs or win the Super Bowl, but it does mean on a week-to-week basis things can change greatly. There just are very few teams that are that terrible that they can't win or threaten any other team if you don't play great. So I agree with you 100%, Don. Brent, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Exactly, Don Burr. We're playing an NFL team every week that wants to win just like we do. Nothing easy in this league. Yeah, and we talked about it. I do think the Lions hit some of the Chargers' weaknesses, and some of the Chargers' strengths do play into what Detroit does well. That being said, you do have two guys, especially on defense. You could even argue three for the Chargers that can change a game real quick, and that's Bosa. You got Mac, and then I always forget the other guy's name, the pass rusher, a little undersized. Anytime you have people like that, one swing of the bat, one swipe of the ball, they can change a game and a team's future for that season. If they should injure a quarterback, say like, Goff or whatever, not saying anybody would try to, but when you get hit, things do happen. So I agree with you guys. Yeah, I'm not overlooking the Chargers by any stretch. I think we got some good advantages, but that doesn't always translate to us doing well. So we'll see what shakes out. So, all right, let's keep it going here. Susan Scott's are I know a realtor named Suzanne Scott. So I wonder, is this her? So if it is, let me know in the comment section. Anyways, good morning to all that. Be in the crew who drinks dew. All right. Good morning to you too. Don, this show really has become a part of my everyday. It sounds like that for a lot of us, man. Me too, man. I wake up, I get some notes ready to go and all that stuff. So I think, yeah, the feeling is mutual, Don. All right. Let's see. Mile marker. Good morning, all. Lions need to stay focused. My greatest hope is we sweep the division. Chargers must be dealt with first. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think, winning the Chargers game, I get we're all going to say, hey, it's one of the more difficult games remaining. But, to be fair, on paper, it is one of the more difficult games remaining. You're going on the road. You got a team that can put pressure on a quarterback. You've got a team that, right, wrong, or different, it's only a couple wins or losses different than you. I get everybody goes, man, they're 500, but that just means 2 swings of the bat and they're back to your win total, and they can help push you down to their loss total. So is what it is, man. But yeah, I'm not overlooking them. And as far as the division, Minnesota is going to be around for the foreseeable future. I've talked about it before. When Justin Fields is on the field for Chicago, I do think they can cause us some problems, especially their offense versus our defense. Doesn't mean they can't lay an egg, but I do think they can hit some of our weaknesses. Their defense, we'll wait and see when we get closer to that. Green Bay, I think we all kind of get the report on that. As long as you can get pressure on Love and you can break up that line, you can cause them a lot of issues. I would like to see when we play them again on Thanksgiving, if we get up comfortably again, don't pull the gas or the dogs off. Don't take your foot off the gas, whatever kind of cliche you want to say. You got an opportunity to bury somebody by 40, 50. You keep doing it because you do not give them a chance to make a comeback. And I'm hoping to see that progression with this team. All right, Big Eddie, greetings and salutations all. Coach Dan, what are your must-dos for the team on Sunday? That's a good question, Eddie. So I would say the must-dos early in the game, I get you're going to want to say, hey, run the ball, establish, blah, blah, blah. I'm not wired that way. I want to run the ball, but it doesn't mean I have to do it early. I want the threat of the run, though. So a lot of play action, especially on first down. To me, first down is the best down to run play action because the probability of you running it or passing it is virtually even, and that puts a lot of pressure on that front line of the defense. So come out, get some first and make some 3 to 5, maybe if you're lucky, 7-yard completions. Just force, second down where again now you can do whatever you want and the defense has to guess. When defenses don't have to guess, that's when you can cause a lot of problems for an offense. So I want to see aggressiveness. I want to see assertiveness. And then defensively, I want to see us get it after Herbert. I don't care if the kid scrambles. If he scrambles, then put a body on him. Make him regret that decision. And I'm not saying hurt him, but make him feel it. And just don't sit back. You want to do the cone formation, funnel formation from time to time. Great, but don't do it exclusively. And that's where I'm really hoping we've evolved. All right, James, what do you got? Good morning, Coach Alliance peeps. Good morning to you, too. Hopefully you're having a do one. Lance, morning all. Question, Coach, how many years will Goff get on his extension, do you think? That's a great question. If I'm Goff's representation, I'm pushing for 5. Probably could be settled into 4 if there's no guaranteed money or incentives laden in the contract. If I'm Detroit, I'm pushing for 3, no more than 4. I think Goff's had a very, very good year. I do not think at this time it's quite as good as last year. And there's a multitude of reasons. I mean, the offensive line being as destroyed as it has been prior to this upcoming weekend, that's definitely a factor. You've had a couple other things, some unlucky breaks or whatever. Goff's playing at a high level. It's just last year I thought he was virtually elite for the majority of the season. So I want to see how this year plays off if I'm Brad Holmes in front office. And I get it doesn't sound like a big difference, 1 year basically on a contract, but it's a year that you're going to have to be locked into him. And all that would change if you put something in the verbiage of the contract that says more or less the team can buy out and get out of the contract after, say, year 3 or whatever. So good question, Lance. All right, Little John Flowers. Greetings and salutations. Someone get me a do. I'm tired as all heck today. Dragon. Well, now you know I drink Mountain Dew every day. Mark a big smile there. Panku Lee. Greetings and salutations from Zan, China. Hey, I know it well. Yeah, I've done some coaching there and some scouting. Great place, man. Big city. Ed, good morning, Coach. Do you know the practice schedule and travel day for the Lions this week? To be fair, Ed, I'd have to check, but my guess is they're flying out Friday, land Friday, Saturday, kind of acclimate, get into things, and then Sunday's game time. My anticipation is if they do fly out Friday, it'd be around noon, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That way you're getting there basically around, if they leave at noon, you're getting there around 1 o'clock West Coast time. So as far as practice schedule, today's Wednesday, so they'll actually hit the field. I don't know if it'll be padded or not. That's up to Dan Campbell's discretion, and I haven't paid attention to how many padded practices they've ran this season. I think yeah, everybody knows. If not, I'll tell you, you're only allowed so many padded practices. My guess is though, coming off the bye, this would be probably a good day to run one, just to kind of get everybody used. And trust me, your bodies do need to get used to that physical contact. Even a few days away, a week away, like the Lions have had, the body starts forgetting some of that abuse, and the same with your hands, your feet. So my guess is if they've got a few padded practices left, this is probably one of the remaining ones for the remainder of the season. Tomorrow would be a full practice as well. Friday, if they do one before they get on the flight, it would be basically just a dress walkthrough before they bust over to the airport. So there wouldn't be any pads or anything on. That is a pretty good question you got there, Ed. Bill, what do you got? Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. John Dallas, morning from Texas. That's quite a coincidence, Dallas and Texas. So I see what you did there. Lauren, what do you got? Good morning. Good morning to you. James, good morning, Coach. Happy Hump Day. Look forward to Sunday. Me too, man. This should be a really good game. And to me as a coach, I would prefer that every game you play, you're facing somebody who's undefeated or one loss. You want to gauge where you're at as a team. Obviously, you got to win some to be relevant and to still make the playoffs. I mean, you ain't for sure in the playoffs yet, but I want to see my team compete against elite competition over and over and over. Get used to playing and performing at that level, because that will elevate your team, your coaching staff, and whatever. If you're coming out and just beating teams up by 20, 30 points, that's not sharpening iron on iron. That's not making players have to work in a constantly heated environment to make themselves better. And same with coaches. So I'm looking forward to this, because I think this could be a real good game, and I'm hoping I'm right. So we'll see what shakes out. Smoke you some. Good morning, Duke Cruz. Same to you. Hopefully you're having a great one. And I do like that picture in your, I guess you call it thumbnail or whatever. That's a good Lions photo. All right, Dave, what do you got? Good morning from Chesapeake, Virginia. What time? You guys are Eastern, I'm guessing, right? Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, same time, I'm thinking. All right, Jay Mommy, one of the rankings has the Lions tied for 8th. I'm going to say this. So I guess that was the point of this show, right? I've got the Lions at, I guess you'd say, number 4. So I still got Philly at number 1. I got Kansas City at 2. I tried to debate on some of the other ones, but I went with the Ravens at number 3, Lions 4, Miami 5. That's my top 5. We'll get into the rest later. But, you're splitting hairs to a certain degree. I think once you get from about number 4 to 8, so an argument can be made one way or the other with any of them. Lions come out and win this game Sunday. When they come out and win this game Sunday, that's going to make a compelling statement for the rest of the season, I think. And then as long as you keep taking care of business, when you set up that game with the Cowboys, yeah, that will be a real big matchup. And going into the playoffs, which to me, you guys have heard me talk about it, I want the Vikings to keep winning, to keep pressure on us for the same reason I kind of was just talking about playing great teams, why you want to do it. The more the Vikings stay relevant, the more it forces us to stay focused, keep developing, keep scheming things on offense and defense, keep improving. So I'm all for it. All right, Ed, what do you got? Do you see this as a must-win game for Detroit or the Chargers? For both teams, to be fair. Chargers, hey, you got a chance to officially get over 500. You're at 500 right now. Lions, you want to keep distance between you and the Vikings. You want to keep pushing. If it's me, you want to keep pushing in contention for one of those top 3 seeds. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got 9 games left. Every game is going to be incredibly important for Detroit from a seeding standpoint, let alone just trying to keep Minnesota away and win the division. So whoever gets the number 1, 2, or 3 seed, the margin for error is going to be incredibly small. Bergs, good morning to you. Good morning, Dan and the Duke crew. Good morning to you, man. Hope you're having a great one. Good to see you in the chat as always, man. Bergs, let's go Lions. Get healthy at the right time. Let's go, boys. Yeah, and let's face it, when we take the field Sunday, we're going to be as healthy probably as we're going to be the rest of the season. It's just, it is what it is. It's a war in the NFL. You guys' bodies go through basically a car crash every NFL Sunday or whatever day you play a game. And I'm going to say this, they're as fresh as they're going to be. And if I'm Campbell, I'm doing everything I can to try to help mitigate and preserve that throughout the season. So I know a couple years ago, a lot of people raised eyebrows when New England Patriots were basically rotating every series, 1 or 2 offensive linemen. I actually wasn't opposed to it because try to take some punishment off those guys. Unlike defensive linemen, defensive linemen, you're rotating. Offensive linemen, that doesn't really happen, and those bodies get abused. The good thing for the Lions situation the past few weeks with the amount of injuries they've had on the offensive line, you've allowed some of the younger people to get in there and get some reps and develop, like Scoresdale. Scoresdale, if you go back and watch that Monday Night Football game, I don't think he starts off great by any stretch of the imagination. And you could see the Lions coaching staff were privy to that as well. They were sending help to him on just about all of his blocks early. When you get to about the middle, early part of the second quarter, somewhere in that range, you could see he calmed down. He started figuring some things out. He still lost on leverage a lot of times. He did get abused a little bit, but he's a rookie. What do you expect? But you could see him grow. And there's been other guys that have done real well. It would be my anticipation this offseason, Big V's probably gone, and they're probably looking to re-sign Glasgow. That's my anticipation. So let's see what shakes out. J-Mo, good morning, Michigan from Texas. Well, man, we got a couple people watching from Texas. Good morning to you too, though. Mr. Nico, what do you got? Good morning, Coach and Duke crew. I hope we sleep on the Chargers. MCDC said he hopes we play our best game against them. What do you think is our biggest threat against the Chargers? So it comes down to how much they can potentially change our offense, just because, Bosa, Mack, and again, the other guy whose name I can't remember, their secondary, I think they hit well. To me, they're a lot like they got a bunch of Tracy Walkers out there. They got some people that can hit you. I don't know if they're the greatest in coverage, which is why they try to mask it so much with zone. The other part of why they play so much zone is zone. Zone is incredibly effective in 1 to, I'd say, 2, maybe 3 seconds on D. You get past that, it's incredibly poor because it breaks down so much. So this game, in my opinion, among other factors, but one of the biggest factors, Mr. Nico, is going to be how much can our offensive line stop their pass rush? How much can we keep them off balance between the running game, the play action, and the passing? If you can hold up and force, to where you're consistently getting 3 to 4 seconds, beyond that, I think that's probably asking too much. But if you can do that on most passing downs, the zone's forced to expand too much, you're going to be able to hit some real big shots against them in chunk plays. So that will be one of the biggest factors. The running game obviously is going to aid in all that. And then I guess on the opposite side, we've got to get pressure on Herbert, because even though they don't have a Jameson Williams, a real speed threat out there, or speed threats, they do have some good receivers. They're good at getting open. They're good at route running, tree concepts, etc. It's just they're not going to burn you for 97 yards unless you just really mess up in coverage a lot. We are playing more zone coverage than I ever thought we would this year. And the problem with that, especially against the Ravens, especially against Seattle, is if you don't get to the quarterback, like I was saying on the opposite side, zones are just forced to expand too much. And we all know what Geno did. We all know what Lamar did. There's been a couple of points I thought Baker Mayfield exposed our zone a little bit too much. And some of that, though, was breakdowns in communications. And I'll say this. I think Aaron Glenn has improved a lot as a defensive coordinator. I think him, Ben Johnson, MCDC, you can see they're getting more experience. They're getting better. The problem we're still seeing, though, way too often in all 3 seasons with Aaron Glenn are breakdown in communications. Now, we've lucked out against the Raiders. We've lucked out to a certain degree against the Buccaneers that they couldn't hit some of those shots when the breakdowns happened and the zones were expanded too much to where there's just too many holes. We've got to correct that in my anticipation, because if that happens in a meaningful moment, it's a game wrecker. So that's why I want to see the rest of the season. I want to see that the breakdown in communications in the second half of our defense are no more. All right, Bergs, sorry about that, Mr. Nico. That went on a tangent there, didn't I? Bergs, run the ball, control the clock, keep Herbert off the field. We got this, Coach. We have them ready. All right, Bergs, what's your score prediction? Hit me up with it in the comment section. Y'all can throw them in there. Come on now. Drink and do it, throw one in there. All right, Don Burr. So here's a question, Coach. Once the season is over, are you going to still go live? The NFL is basically year round with free agency draft talk. Yeah, man. As long as people are showing up, I'll do it. I mean, the great thing about this, man, is that really, as long as you got a microphone, a phone, and Wi-Fi, you can do it anywhere. So even if I, I gotta watch how I say, even if I am told I'm going on a vacation somewhere by the GF, then yeah, I can probably still do it somewhere. So yeah, plan on it, man. Plan on it. Key, what do you got? Good morning and happy Wednesday. You've been my morning pregame before Woodward Sports. All right, that's awesome, man. Also, I hear all 53 men have recently practiced. That's great news. Getting healthy will be a big key. I agree. I mean, this game, the big factor going for us, and kind of already talked about a little bit, is that this game will be as healthy as will be more than likely the rest of the season. The offensive line, heck, man, if I'm not mistaken, you guys let me know if I'm wrong, but this probably is going to be the first time you're going to have Jameson Williams, the all starters on the offensive line, everybody out there together this season. Man, maybe even last season. And I get last season, Big B was out, so he was never really out there. Although I'm not even sure if he's going to start this particular game. But at any rate, we've got everything out there. Somebody, what do you call that thing now? Twitter or whatever it's called nowadays. Somebody had a video of Jameson Williams working on, breaks, getting in and out of his cuts, his route tree progression, the cone drill, you could call it. And I would say this, he looked good on there. He is improving, like we've talked about. It's just, I think you got to give the kid a little bit more time. But Key, to your point, man, I think this offense hasn't performed at its best yet. And we've talked about that. I think it's still coming. The defense, I do believe if we can figure out a way to get somebody opposite side Hutchinson to get 50 to 60% win rate against blockers, to pull occasionally another blocker to them versus Hutchinson, now you got a real good chance. And that's where I think the Chargers are really going to put us in a little bit of a pickle, is blocking both those guys, Bosa and Mack, consistently with one-on-one blocking. Now, we do have the tackles who can do that, but even the best tackles are going to struggle to do that on a 70, 80% of the time win rate, where, they don't need somebody else to chip or, pass block or push block and then go back to their spot. So, all right, keep it going here. Hey, what do you got? Good morning, sir. First touch, deep throw the ball to JMO. That should keep them on their heels. It's not a bad idea, man, and I like the aggression, yeah, I'd be all for, flea flicker, anything like that. Just catch people off guard. Most people aren't exactly horribly focused on that first snap. They're kind of, getting into the game, especially if they're a little bit nervous. So you're going to pull something off, man. It's one of the better opportunities to go for it. So I like the way you're thinking. Met these, what do you got? I hope the pass rush can prove that the trade deadline lack of moves was the right move, because Hutch is getting doubled consistently. You're not wrong. And I watched a little bit of film over the bye. There's even sometimes he's getting triple blocked, and basically all that is two people blocking, somebody else coming over to chip. But that also means if an offense is putting that much attention on one guy, what are they doing to the rest of the people? I mean, that's my question. You gotta, like you're saying, man, you gotta get some wins. And I get Charles Harris, great guy, great teammate, yada yada. At the end of the day, you got to be a good performer on the field. And I get they're trying to convert Jack Campbell into a bit of a pass rusher, and I think he's got a lot of the tools that you're going to want for. Dude's definitely got the size, but you can see, and we've talked about it for a while, he's just that raw that it's going to take time. You're probably not going to see a real strong return on that investment, I'm going to guess, until next year, and then I think you got something. But hopefully as this year goes on, they get somebody out there. So we'll see what shakes out, man. All right, Brian, we got greetings and salutations. What's your thoughts on total passing yards and running yards this week for the Lions? All right, man, he put me on the spot here. I'm going to go with 327 for Goff and total rushing yards. I'm going to go with 145, right in that range. And that will be between a couple people, not just one person. All right, Jesse, what do you got? Top of the morning all. Do you see JMO at practice yesterday running? Yeah, that's what I was talking about, man. Yeah, 100%. And catching with his hands looks really good, and I believe in him. No one else does. I do believe in him, man. I just think he needs time to, calm down, let it all come to him. And once that happens, I think he's going to be okay. I still think I view this year as his rookie year. I think he's still adjusting, getting used to the contact, getting used to just processing things. Right now, I think it's all happening so fast in his head. It's got him nervous and it's got him underperforming a little bit. But the longer he goes, just give him time, man. I think he's going to be okay. Hey, thanks for that, Bergs. Thanks very much, man. You know what? I'm going to have a hot dog off the roller grill, a Wizard Finger, and a Mountain Dew, and credit it all to you. Thanks for that, man. Thank you very much, man. JP, good morning, Dan. Go Lions. Let's find a way to win in LA. Yeah, you're going to fly all the way out there. The least you could do is beat them down in their own house. I mean, come on. That's what good guests do, right? So let's make that happen. What's that? What do you got here, Ryan? I know you're not big in helmets and units. However, Chargers seem to be considered one of the best unit helmet combos in the NFL. Thoughts? It's fairly classic. I mean, I'd say it's iconic. The majority of their gear, as far as the throwback stuff, it's sort of like, I would say, the Raiders. The Raiders, man, they haven't changed that stuff really in 50 years, 60 years, something like that. And I just say that's who you are. If I'm them, I'd keep with the 70s, 80s look, because it's kind of iconic. Sort of like the Lions, man. I mean, I would say this. I prefer the old school 1920 throwback Lions gear. I get they only break it out once in a while. But to me, I just make that your norm. It's who we are. Sort of like the Green Bay Packers. They don't really change their jazz either. Have an identity and be iconic for it. All right, what do you got here, JP? Jesse, I am in the J mode 2. I am in on J mode 2. He needs time and practice. He's still a rookie. 100% agree. 100%. Trey, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. I trust all is well. It is, man. Thanks for that. Unless Goff wins the bowl and is the main reason for our playoff success this season, he doesn't get extension or at most a 2-year extension. It could definitely happen. I think a lot of it, Trey, is going to come down to what they see or believe they see with Hooker. If they think, man, Hooker's something, and we just need to give him a little time to kind of get his feet wet, evolve, develop, then I could see them keeping Goff on a shorter term deal, or it could be, like I was saying earlier, a 4 or 5 year deal where they can buy out or get out of the contract basically after 2 to 3 years. So I think you're pretty spot on with that, man. And I talked about Hooker yesterday, man. He's got some, like, I don't want to get rid of J-Mo, and I get he hasn't performed as most people like, but what he can do when he does get there, it's just almost impossible to find somebody like that. I mean, Jameson Williams is so rare. He is the 1% of the 1% of athletes. And when I look at Hendon Hooker, I'm not worried about the age because he plays the quarterback position. Those dudes, Tom Brady, if he wanted to, if the Raiders would have signed him, he'd probably be playing until he's 50, man. Let's be honest. When I look at Hendon Hooker, when I look at his arm strength, what I perceive as his accuracy and some of his other factors, that he's got some real power from the hips down, where he can run and he could. I don't want him to run through people. He's a quarterback, but he can do some stuff. I don't think he's as rare as Jameson Williams, but for a quarterback, he might not be Lamar, he might not be Steve Young, but he's going to be up there in that conversation. Now it just comes down to whether or not his skill sets evolve enough to where the Lions feel comfortable. All right, Jay, what do you got? Things definitely got interesting in the Big Ten. I paid a little bit of attention to what's going on, but at the same time, man, I couldn't tell you anything if it happened today. At some point, I just kind of got tired of the Michigan story, just because I can tell you this, man. Michigan may have stole signs, it may not have. I don't know, and I don't care, but I can tell you everybody's doing it. I can tell you teams, NFL, NBA, college, they all have guys that just sit there and watch the replays of games and listen for the cadences or the audibles and stuff, just to try to pick that stuff up. And you better believe they're all doing it where they're trying to see if they can get a little bit of a camera angle and relief where they can pick up a sign or two. you got one or two graduate assistants doing that jazz all day. And those grad assistants know if they can pick up a few plays and they make an impression on a coach, they got a better chance to get, elevated from GA to, 23rd assistant getting paid. So that's why to me, it's a crock. Everybody's doing it. High school teams go out and they send guys to opposing games coming up in the future. They're up in the press box. They're eating all the free food and stuff. And all they're sitting there doing is taping and watching the team that they have playing coming up. So if high school teams can do it, I mean, what are we talking about in the NCAA, man? Come on now. I get you broke a rule, but don't be naive to think everybody else isn't trying to do the same thing. So if you whatever is going on though, Jay Mommy, just let me know. I'm not privy to it. All right, Mike, what do you got? Good morning, Lions faithful. And I agree with had developed enough O-line. We could rotate and stay healthy. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, but I'm a big fan of it because of how important the offensive line is doing. I don't, or is to any game. I don't know if I rotate two guys every drive, but I might rotate one every drive just to, over the course of the season, you do that. You're taking a lot of wear, maybe a game. I guess I'd have to do the math, maybe a game or two off somebody's, body as far as the amount of punishment. And that does add up in a hurry. Ed, what do you got in this game? Do you use pass to open up the run game? Yes. Or run to open up the pass game. I would pass to open up the run game. Sort of like I was talking about earlier, Ed. If it's me, man, first down, the threat of the run is real on first down. Same with the pass, but you go play action there, you're as good an opportunity to freeze the linebackers, the secondary. Basically, how about this? The first wave of the defense, so the D line and anybody in the support or right behind the D line, you're going to be able to freeze them for that half second, maybe full second, where they're having to wait and see what's happening. And that's where you can hit some real, 5, 6, 7 yard play action passes, maybe some deep shots from time to time. But you put the defense in no-win situations when you do that. My big beef, and you guys have heard me say it against the Ravens, is, man, the first 3 to 5 drives, all we did on first down, we're going to run it. We're going to run it. It's one thing if you're getting something out of it, which we weren't, but you got to make adjustments. And to me, I'd probably be too predictable because every first down will probably be a play action pass. All right, General Brown, what do you got? Establish run game and keep Herbert off the field. I agree. They'll limit them and force them into pressure situations where, they know they feel they've got to get something going each and every drive to keep up with us. I agree with that. All right, what do you got, JP? Pound the ground, score, keep the Chargers offense off the field. That I think we all agree that is a winning formula. Derek, do you think Montgomery and Gibbs will have an even carry total? I think it's probably going to be getting closer to that the rest of the year because Gibbs, while early in the season he was hesitant, you guys, we've all talked about in the chat, he was hesitant hitting certain holes, A gap, B gaps, basically between the center guards and the guard and the tackle. He's not that anymore. He's calmed down. He's evolved. He's learned to read and set up blocks. So I think there's a much better opportunity for somewhere near 50-50 workload. All right, Michael, what do you got? Michael Jordan. Too many holes in zone coverage and getting exposed when we face mobile quarterbacks. Yeah, and I think a lot of that is, again, not to beat a dead horse, but because Aaron Glenn really this year, to stop mobile quarterbacks, he's gone with one very particular defensive setup up front at least. And the problem with it, like we've seen, is while you stop the quarterback from easily, shooting a gap and getting out running, if you don't get home on the quarterback, you're just giving him too much time. And kind of like your point, Jordan, or Michael Jordan, is that, somebody's going to be able to pick that thing apart if they've got any kind of quarterbacking abilities. And Herbert does have some arm talent, so he can throw it and hit particular holes, especially deep up the sidelines. And as much single high safety as we play with Kirby Joseph up there, you're just asking a ton out of one guy to stand here and have to cover both sidelines. If two guys break free, it's impossible. He's got to take one away, and he can't take them both away. So, yeah, I'm much more in the mindset of just go, hit Herbert. If he gets out and scrambles, sometimes great. Make him do it all 4 quarters. Make him do it all game without getting beat up, without fumbling, without taking those shots. That's more my philosophy. We'll see if Aaron Glenn's listening to the show, though. Bergs, you got 27-17. I'd take that. J Mommy, having Branch back could help with the coverage. As long as the Lions can get pressure on the quarterback, I could see 2 interceptions. Yeah, Herbert, he hasn't, and I haven't watched a ton of their game film, but he hasn't been as accurate as he has been in the past. Some of it is he does have some aging receivers that aren't as able to get open as they once were. They're still pretty good, but they're not quite as explosive as he's had in the past. All right, what do we got? Ozzy Osbourne. Good morning, Dan. How do you like Josh Pascal for the job? He just got back, and Houston comes back the next month. 24-17 Lions win. Pascal, I think, is pretty good. One thing I do like about him versus some of our other ends, he's real good in the run defense. He's very sound at that. His pass rush skills, I don't know. He's on par with the majority of the people not named Hutchinson. And that's why I think that the Lions, somehow or another, whether it works out with Houston or Campbell or whoever, they've got to get somebody this offseason, free agency or the draft, that can get over there and get some consistent pressure on the quarterback opposite side. I was hoping and praying all last draft. You guys probably remember the videos where I was yelling and screaming, I trade up for Will Anderson. I knew it would never happen, but I really was hoping that we could make that happen. All right, what do we got, Michael? Howdy, Dan and Lions faithful. Howdy to you too. Hopefully you're having a great one, Michael. Good to see you in the chat as always. Smokey some JMO is Flash Gordon, yeah, or a Flash, yeah. The DC character, yeah, he is, man. He's super fast and legit, and I do think one of these games he's going to go off, and that's probably when he calms down, when he has those couple big games, his confidence shoots up, and you just see everything kind of swell from there. We get that going before the playoffs, man, that's going to make it real tough for the majority of defenses to deal with this offense. All right, Derek, what do you got? Thoughts on using screen passes and delayed runs to slow down Bosa and the LA Charger pass rush? Yeah, I think we'll probably see a lot of that stuff, whether or not there'll be running back screens or wide receiver screens, maybe even a tight end screen to Laporta. I think you'll see a lot of that. One thing I would say in regards to that, I think we could see probably more with Gibbs than Montgomery. They're both capable of doing it, but I think it'd be more Gibbs' skill set is seeing some delayed chip wheel routes from Gibbs. So what that means, okay, you got the offensive line, you got the defensive line, obviously right above it. They're going to intentionally have Gibbs, whatever side he's lined up on, I'll just say over here, go over and help chip block on, say, Bosa or Mac. And then as soon as he chips, release right behind the line, just basically a little circle, catch the pass. Because if he can do that, or the linebackers, especially on play action, he's shown play action, the linebackers or whoever, safeties that are up at the second line, because remember, they're going to play mostly 5 people across, 2 people over the top on D. So 5 people at the line of scrimmage for the Chargers and 2 people, 1 linebacker, 1 safety right behind the line. So if you run play action, those 2 people back here are going to come up to the line because they've got to keep their gap responsibility. Now, as they start backpedaling because they see it's play action, he's chip blocked. He's probably a little bit invisible or harder to see. Now he swings around. They're backpedaling. You catch it here in front of them, and you'll be able to get some, 5, 6, 7 yarders. I mean, I guess with Gibbs' speed, he might be able to do something more with that. Not that Montgomery is slow by any stretch, but I'm expecting a lot of that type of stuff to just constantly slow down the pass rush and, again, keep him a little bit off balance and guessing. On the drums, Tom Brady still calls his entire career. Just saying. Okay, I'll go with that. And he's done pretty well. All right, Jay Mommy, if Pascal can stay healthy, he could be what the Lions need an edge. He could be. Yeah, he fits a lot of what I think they're wanting to have. But for him, it's going to come down to basically that knee. He's had some issues last year and then this year with the knee. Michael, what do you got? Happy 248th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Yeah, I retired as a gunnery. Well, congrats, man, and thanks for the service. I'll have to maybe see if I can get the Sarge on here one of these days because I know he's considering retirement at some point. Whether or not it's now or in a few more years, I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, he's been in there for 20 some years now. I'm trying to remember. But again, thank you for all you've done for the country. And again, congrats to the United States Marine Corps on the happy birthday. All right, Jerome, morning, coach. Dan, I get more educated on football every time I watch a show. Defense wins championships. That is still my motto. Yeah, if you don't have one, you better have a dang good offense. But I agree. You've got to have a good defense to have a chance or an opportunity to win. Any updates on Montgomery? I think he's fully back. I'm sure my anticipation is because the nature of his injury in the center of his chest and the cartilage, my guess is they're probably going to put like a flak jacket on him to help protect it. It's a little bit more weight, but if they're going to really kind of divvy up his responsibilities with Gibbs more, it shouldn't be horribly impactful. You might see him go in for, instead of 3 or 4 plays before he's subbed out, maybe 2 plays and then subbed out. But they're going to protect that area. My guess is the rest of the season. So when you go out and watch, pay attention to shoulder pads and then pay attention around the rib cage. If you see a pronounced, I guess you'd say padding popping out, then you know he's wearing some kind of rib protection specifically designed to help mitigate any kind of punishment he takes there or contact. So my guess is they're probably going to go with 1.5 inch thickness, basically girdle protection around there just to add a little bit more protection, a little bit more sturdiness. I can't remember the NFL rules, but I can imagine it's made out of hard plastic, nothing more than that, no metal or anything like that. Hard plastic over the top. You got some padding underneath and then hard plastic at the backside to contain it. So, yeah, keep coming up with the questions. You guys got them, man. I got some answers for you. Jesse, what do you got? I think Sun God, J-Mo Gibbs, and Donovan Peoples-Jones are going to be a problem for teams if they all click at the right time. Yeah, and then don't forget Laporta and everybody. Yeah, this offense, to your point, especially now that the offensive line should be back, one of the things they had to do in the last few games, if you guys go and pay attention and rewatch the films, is they had to do shorter routes on a lot of stuff. Not all the stuff, but they did shorter routes, basically, 3-step drops, get rid of it because they knew that you were asking too much for the center of our offensive line to hold up against legitimate pass rushers. And you could see even with the Raiders, we struggled a lot with longer snap counts or deeper drops just because those guys don't have yet the abilities to block out like that. So in your case, your thoughts, Jesse, here, I think you'll see a lot more probably 5-step drops out of Goff, especially in the play action. And instead of just having to get rid of it in 2 seconds or less, you're going to have more of an opportunity for 3 to 4. And, the Chargers play so much zone. I think that's a strong indication they don't have a lot of belief in their secondary to hold up against man. I think we've got some real weapons that if you give Goff 3 to 4 seconds on average, he's going to hit some pretty good shots down the field. And that's going to eat up that zone in a hurry. All right, Ryan, what do you got? Bye week equals rest for players and restlessness for fans and coaches too. I get coaches try to take some time off, but I can also tell you, man, they are all aware of where they're at, who's right behind them, Minnesota, and the opportunities they have. There's no rest for the coaching staff. Maybe they got a day off, but that's probably about it. All right, Jay Mommy, you got the news update. NCAA has cleared Michigan of stealing. Couldn't find any proof that Harbaugh and his staff were involved. Hey, that's good news because I'm ready to move on from that news. But thanks for that because again, I don't pay attention to it, and I heard a little bit of it when it all came up. But at the same point, man, everybody's doing it, and that's just based on my experience. You guys may have different experiences, but mine, I can even tell you in a basketball world. I know one of my first jobs coaching college is at a place called Western Michigan University, men's basketball team, and we made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. One thing I was asked to do early in the season, because I was just a GA at that point, anytime there's a timeout, I was to stand here and look down the sideline at the other team's bench during timeouts, try to pick up what adjustments they're making, watch the dry erase boards as they're drawing stuff, watch the lips and try to, read lips, figure out what they're doing. Let me tell you, man, everybody's trying to get an advantage. All right, Derek, what do you got? True or false? Whoever wins the turnover battle wins the game. In this game, I would say that's probably, and really any game, that's probably a true statement. So I'll go with true. Dr. D, hoorah. Yeah, hoorah to you too, man. And hopefully you're having a good one, a do one. Let's hope JMO is not quite a flash in the pan. Da-da-da. I knew I could count on it. All right, Phil, hey, man, I've been wondering where you were at this morning. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Greetings to you too. North Carolina. Damn, it's early. Finally made a live one. Well, I'm glad you did, man. Hopefully you're having a good one too. So hopefully you're enjoying the show. Good morning, Dr. D. All right, let's see. Derek, what do we got? Scoresdale looked really good in picking up stunts and passing off protection. Is he our starting right guard next year? Whew, that's a good question. I guess it's going to just, wait and see how he does the rest of the year. But I don't think, and you guys heard me talk about it, I don't think Big V is going to be back. I just think his body's shot. Maybe he starts a few more games for us, but I think they're mostly going to have to use him in a backup role the remainder of this season. And you're not paying a backup offensive lineman his kind of money or contract. Scoresdale, I think he's going to have an opportunity. I think if Frank the Tank really is resigned or sticks around next year, which right now I'd say that's probably where they're going to go with things. It's going to come down to Glasgow. Does he beat him out, or do one of them replace Jonah Jackson if we don't resign him? Jonah Jackson is going to get paid by somebody. And it's just going to be tough, I think, because you're going to have to pay both tackles. You're paying the center. Well, I guess Decker's already paid. You're paying the center and Frank. Swell's got to get paid. Man, can you really pay 4 offensive linemen big contracts? I guess we'll leave that to Brad Holm, but I'd say chances are not great that's going to happen. Been wrong before, though, man, so we'll see. Bergs, thank you for your service, Michael. Yeah, everybody should give him a shout out, man. That's yeah. Thank you for all you did, man. Michael, not sure what that emoji means, so I'll just say, hey, have a great day, man. And yeah, again, thank you for everything. I smoke you some. Thank you for your service. Go USA. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for 20 years of services from JP. Let's get Tuberville to do his job and approve the promotions all the branches of service need so badly. I agree with that 100%. And knowing, talking to some people in recruiting in the United States, man, right now, it's incredibly difficult to get meaningful recruits into any of the branches of service. And we might not want to ever, in the next few years, we might not ever want to fight a foot war somewhere because we're getting tested as far as recruiting of new persons in the armed forces. All right, Derek, what do you got? The only time Scoresdale got beat was by Crosby on a delayed blitz, and Crosby leads the league with over 40 quarterback pressures, so it's not that bad. Yeah, like I said, you could see him develop during the game and calm down. He's got some leverage things I believe he's got to improve upon, but that just comes with time and repetitions. He'll get there. Al, what do you got? Morning, fans. Michael, thank you for your service. Love the show. Thank you. And I love the show, too. And Michael, again, man, thank you for all you've done. T-Chair, what do you got? Happy do 30, Dan. I can tell you are getting thirsty. Yeah, go Lions. Yeah, on the mic for a while, man. You get your throat gets dried out. It happens. All right, what do we got? A couple more here. Jennifer, good morning. Good morning to you, Jennifer. Hopefully you're having a great one. Jesse, did everyone hear what Herbert Morris said about JMO and how he would use him? I would think he should be a mentor. What say you? Yeah, I think changing some of his routes. I mean, you guys, we've talked a lot about it this week. I think if you restrict him to just running specific routes, the Willie Gault style, just every route's down the field, then you're not going to help him evolve as a player and a wide receiver, let alone. You're going to have a receiver in today's NFL. They've got to be able to run all the route trees. They got to be able to, run inside, outside, whatever. I think kind of the days of you just being an X receiver, a Z receiver, across the middle or deep, those are pretty much gone. If you look at most NFL offenses, look at Tyreek Hill. Could that dude just beat people down the field left and right? Yeah. But he is so much more dangerous and keeps defenders guessing because they don't know where he's going to go. I'll say this with Jameson Williams. If Herman Moore wanted to come in and work with them, same with Calvin Johnson, Robert Clark, whoever from Lions lore and past, have him come on in and do it. It can't hurt, I would think, as long as it's not a distraction during practices. But he's a rookie in my eyes. He is improving. I think they'll keep evolving him to go across different spots in the field and not just be one particular set of routes. Derek, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's true with most teams. Yeah, I agree. And I can tell you, people are going to come out and scout us. And there's been a lot of times if the weather's bad or something, or if I've had coaches call me up and say, "Hey, I can't risk setting somebody out. Can you give us game tape on yourselves? Would you be willing to do it?" I'll send it to them. My job, I'm secure with my coaching. It's your job to stop us. And the more I can get you to focus about what we do and not what you do, to me, that's a win. So go for it. Pound the drums. What I was trying to say earlier is that Tom Brady stole signs his entire career. Yeah, I'm sure he did. And especially someone who'd been around the league that long, he probably could figure out what teams are doing. I got to imagine most players, especially you start getting some real years in the league, you know what to do, where to look. You hear repeated sounds, or the other part is too, in free agency, coaches switch teams, so do players. And coaches, hate to say it, we all got tendencies. We might change up some things, but it probably doesn't take a player who's played long for us to figure out what we're trying to do. And you pass that information on. I mean, somebody's not going to sit there and go, "Well, just because I played from, that wouldn't be right for me to share that stuff." That's BS, man. You want to know what coaches will do, especially in the NFL. Check the practice squad. Somebody who's cut by, let's just say, I'll make a team up. So let's just say with the Chargers, they cut somebody who'd been on that practice squad getting exposed to other material for a few weeks or months. And the Lions have an opportunity to sign them the week before they play them. They're going to sign them more than likely. Why? What can you tell us? We're now your employer. Can you give us some tips? Yeah, that stuff happens a lot. It's not all just luck that, the Lions just happened to sign somebody from the 49ers practice squad the week before we play them. T-Mac, smiles. Yeah, smile back at you, man. What do you got, Carl? We need to contain Ekeler this Sunday. Yeah, and I know somebody had it in the comment section of video yesterday and chatted with him. I'm sorry if I don't remember who it was, but he will be one of the better running backs and more versatile running backs we'll see all season. I think Ragnar retires, especially if we can get the division and playoff win. It's a possibility. I mean, we've talked about that toe ain't getting any better, no matter how many more surgeries you do on it. And I don't even know if they can do any more surgeries on it. The calf injury, I mean, it's going to happen. Just because the toe is injured doesn't mean the rest of them can't get hurt. We'll see what shakes out, though, man. All right, Derek, what do you got? 34-31 Lions. I'll take that. Any win is a good win. All right, Bergs, what do you got? Hit the like button, guys, and tell other Lions fans about the channel. Let's help Dan reach his goal. Yeah, trying to get to 4,200 by Sunday. If something really happens, then we'll get to 4,300. But I'm out here grinding for you guys. All right, Ozzy, what do you got? Do you think Ben will be back next year, coordinator? I think it's 50-50 on him and Aaron Glenn at best. And that's probably your best case scenario. If the Lions do win the division and then win a playoff game, yeah, you're going to have everybody trying to pick us apart because they're going to want what you got. I do think if, landing potential spots, I don't know. We'll worry about that another time. But, I think it's 50-50 at best. No count. What do you got? We finally have a healthy old line. Should be able to put up 28 to 40 points on the Chargers and smash them as long as we get some pressure on Herbert. Yeah, and that will be one of the biggest keys for the defense is getting pressure on them. Is it going to come through schematics where we're, stunning or flipping, on the inside, the interior of the line or whatever to get after them? That we'll have to wait till Sunday to see. Or are we just going to say, hey, we'll do cone technique and everybody's got to beat their guy or push their lineman back in them. We'll see. I really hope it's not the cone technique that Aaron Glenn's been using most of the season. Derek, what do you got? Brad Holmes has done such a great job drafting that we are going to have some painful decisions to make with contract extensions. Which 5 core players do we have to keep? I think you got to keep both tackles on the offensive line. So Sewell's going to get kept. St. Brown, you're not letting go anywhere. So that's 2 of them. On defense, I like Lee McNeil, but if we got better than him, I probably wouldn't complain. But for now, I'd say you're going to have to re-sign him. That's 3. Boy, I'm trying to remember some of the other contract situations. Boy, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I guess Josh Reynolds. I don't know. I don't remember offhand where his contract is, but I'm keeping him, and then Goff. So that's probably my 5 right now. But I reserve the right to review that later on when I have more time to look at the contracts. Phil, will Brady ever be a coach? Probably not. I don't think it's his personality type. I think he's pretty good with stuff. I think he's more into the ownership. I mean, he owns part of the WNBA Aces, and they've had a pretty good go of things. He's trying to get into ownership with the Raiders. The big problem I think he's going to face from the NFL when it comes to ownership of the Raiders is he's got that contract with Fox. So are they going to let him go on the air and basically critique teams knowing that you're also an owner? And that would just open the door for a lot of people saying he's biased, this, that, and the other thing. But the dude's going to make some money, though. He's going to make some real good money. All right, and Curtis Steele popping into the house. Hey, the infamous one, Kurt Steele. So good morning to you, too. Hopefully you're having a great one. All right, guys, it's just shy of an hour being in here. You guys know I got to get some stuff done here. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. If you would, hit the thumbs up button, the like button, the whatever button you want to call it. Hold on, we got a couple more here. I'll get you guys in. Derek, Brady will be a TV analyst before a coach. Coaching takes up a lot of your time. 100%, man, at every level. So don't let somebody tell you differently. Kurt Steele, what do you got? The Jets got to Herbert for 5 sacks. I think we can get that many or more. Oof. All right, Kurt, I'm going to ask you, man. I'm going to put you on the spot. How many sacks do you think we get? Everybody, how many sacks do you think we can get Sunday? I'm going to go with I'm going to get a little bright-eyed here. I'm going to say 7 sacks. I think we can. But a lot of that, I'm going to also say this. That's if we can get up early and keep it, 10, 14 points, forcing the Chargers, the longer the game goes on, to be a lot more one-dimensional in their offensive attack. All right, Steele, you got 6. Norm, you got 3. Hale, you got 4. Pound the drums, 6. 6, the number of the beast. All right, fair enough. Derek, you got 4. All right, so I think we all think. All right, Derek Mills, you got 3. All right, so we all think we get some pressure on them. We'll see what shakes out. I want to see them being a little bit more inventive with Hutchinson, moving him around too. So see what shakes out. All right, we got more people coming in here. Kristen, we got 5. Phil, you got 8. Man, Phil, that would be a heck of a performance for the Lions. Jerome, you got 3. Bergs, you got 5. All right. So yeah, let's see what shakes out. But all right, the Mountain Dew is calling me, and I got to get ready for work. Yeah, I got to do that thing sometimes too. So I hope you all have a great one. If there's some breaking news the rest of the day, of course, I'll get on the chat and let you guys know about it. But take care. Enjoy the rest of your days. And I'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. See you guys.